Hello. Hello. I am waiting for my friend Kate. Here we go. Adding her live. Talking about love.
Yay!
Yay, we did it. We did it. Ooh, I like your glasses. Maybe I should put mine on.
I need my reading glasses for anything phone related. You know how it is.
Yeah. No, I don't know how it is at all.
It's
No.
a lovely accessory. I love
These
them.
these are only for vanity purposes.
I love glasses. It's like
I know I do too.
change the story. You know, if you get nervous about it, then I'm not getting old. I just get another accessory.
Yeah, right?
So fun.
I'm getting, more and more sexy with every pair of glasses I put on.
I'll do this on my there. That's a little better with my lighting, so you can get me in there with eyes and everything.
Yeah, you look great.
Thank you.
Yeah, it just made me decide, okay, let's be twinsies.
Yes, I love it.
Let's do that little sexy librarian look, ladies.
I know.
This is what you can do on some of your Zoom date calls. Just put on a pair of glasses, switch it up.
You might have to. I mean, like I literally, did that too, right? In the mix of both teaching this, I was doing it, and in the dating, and I owned that I needed to see them through reading glasses. And you know what usually happened? The guy took a sigh of relief and grabbed his glasses, saying, "Oh, thank you." Literally, I'm allowed to be me. It's just beautiful to be genuine.
It really, really is. It just gives you an opening to just be authentic and it's like and they're going to show up as a mirror of you anyway. So yeah.
Good.
So good. Well, anyways, we're here talking about love, relationships, and the Successful Woman's Guide to Love. And
absolutely.
So great having you featured, and our conversation was epic, in my opinion. It really was. And, let's give them a little sneak peek.
Oh, yeah.
I know you've already aired, but there's going to be a replay weekend. So if you haven't caught the Successful Woman's Guide to Love, links in my bio, sign up, catch Kate, because we had a great conversation, especially if you find yourself anxious around love, dating, relationships, how to manage that feeling. We give you some really informative roadmaps on how to step into this confidently and enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And really the confidence is in the taking the first step into the unknown.
Yes.
Think about your life. When you look, I mean, this is just like the rest of life, and we kind of forget that sometimes. When you think back to growing up or making a big decision about a job or your first car or a relationship or going to college or any of that, it's stepping into an unknown, but being committed to a dream.
Yes. Committed to a dream, committed to a vision. And there's always discomfort until you get used to it. It's kind of like riding a bike, anything new, right? Like that. It's just staying open to that, and being in the curiosity of it rather than being in the contraction energy of, oh, online dating sucks, or, these things, but just being open to and curious to what could open up. And I find that too, just, a little trick, if you get on a dating app, just being intentional with, I'm going to connect with some really amazing people, some beautiful souls. And that will start, usually what you speak into will open up. And if you do the opposite, that will start to happen too, right? So.
I love that because it's so true. It's so true. Our intention and energy, that is the lens. I think we talked a little bit about this in our interview, which was the thoughts that go through our minds in the moment, or those beliefs that are there all the time, whether we're conscious to it or not, are the lens that filter our eyesight and our experiences. Yeah. So if we're in that lens of there are no good men out there,
then you're going to get confirmation of that. Or if you start
scammers, you're going to get in and out, and then you're going to judge people that are just neutral that way too. And I call people for it all the time for that. Like when they say, well, they just said hi, they didn't try. Like,
yeah. Oh,
what are you making this
you
mean?
read my mind. You read my mind on this, because I feel like so many women get upset or judgy around men that go, hi, how was your day? And they get upset going, oh, can't he do any better than that?
All I know is if somebody's really that slick to be so smooth on the first sentence, that would be more of a yellow card, red flag to me than they don't know what to say, but they have a big heart.
Right. It's like
uncomfortable. Totally. They're nervous.
Even acknowledging the fact that I had somebody reach out to me and ask how my day was and receive that in kind. Yeah. And then that can open up the door to so much connection. Oh gosh, I feel so cared for that you asked how my day was.
And here's the thing. We as women get to show up in responsibility to that. If all you do is say fine, like really think about what you're saying back. Is there a game you're unconsciously playing trying to get him to prove he likes you because something in you doesn't believe you're likable? Because that's what happens when you're waiting for them to put in, yes, they get to put in the effort, but when you're not even showing up to be in lightheartedness, or if you're holding some sort of wall about your response until they open up, like, here's the thing that men are desiring most of all is to experience women who are open and light and free and delighted in life.
Yes.
So be in that energy, because men don't get that in the work world, in their world normally. They're competitive. They play sports that are competitive. They're competitive in the masculine world of business. I mean, there's some softness and lightness that they like just relieves them and lets them escape from that normalcy of life when they're in the presence of a woman who's delighted and lighthearted. Now, that doesn't mean you're what's the word I'm thinking of? You're not flighty, you're not like ditzy. It means you're a present human being and you're in the conversation and you're going to share something vulnerably. If he says, how was your day? And maybe it was tough, you go, actually, normally my days are pretty awesome, but today was kind of tough.
Yeah. Be real, be you. And it opens up a conversation and opens it up like, and I think I shared this a little bit in our conversation too. It's like, as the feminine, we're actually the emotional leaders in relationship. And there's a lot of confusing love advice out there that says, wait for him to lead. Well, we actually inspire his leadership by our vision. So you are, emotionally leading in your communication, then he'll, and you're open, like that energy comes through on a dating app.
Yeah.
It'll open him up. Now, if the guy just responds flatly like, oh, or okay, maybe you want to move forward. Maybe you want to, keep going. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's just, and not taking what anybody does or doesn't do personally.
Well, even with that, you can even add to that, which is even more vulnerable, but it's true. But vulnerability, again, doesn't have to be a weakness. It's a superpower in that you are allowing yourself to be seen without fear of whatever response is happening, because simply being like putting yourself out there and seen, you don't make a meaning of what's coming back to you. So even in that, it could have been, it's a tough day. I didn't really realize how much I needed to hear someone say, "How are you?" So thank you for that. It really supported me.
Yeah.
That gives somebody, if that's even more vulnerable, right?
And that drops into what you're truly feeling. So,
Yeah.
so really connecting with yourself and how you're truly feeling before the response,
Yeah.
and taking it that next step, it
Yeah.
opens up the energy to a beautiful connection.
And what that also does is say, wow, I wasn't even trying to make her happy. I mean, there is some peace in that, like bringing joy to women, right? There's a joy to wanting to provide comfort and happiness and support them making their lives happy. But there's a win for him to feel safe to lean in and be vulnerable too. And when we've had so many experiences, men and women, of being hurt, men sometimes are a little more hesitant, especially if we're older. They're not the same as when they were
Totally.
22. Come on, not at all. Their hearts, they
and,
desire to
and
be
and I
connected.
think a lot of times, airing to what you were sharing earlier about, you know, if you're just looking for him to, it's almost like you're looking for him to entertain you and show up with, you know, almost like virtual flowers
Yeah,
before he even knows you, when it's simply making a connection.
yeah,
And um and just opening that. I always say this to my women, it's just, you're opening the door for
yeah.
him. You're
And
opening
here's the
the
thing that
door.
women miss is men open the door for us to lean into vulnerability all the time. And we
Yeah.
see it as an affront, or it activates a fear rather than an opportunity to share something we value. And that's the only way that a man can truly know who you are and that you stand for and are passionate about and are committed to who you are, your values. If you don't take those windows of opportunity to be vulnerably open and share that.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
And it's, even by opening a dating app, there's so many opportunities to do that and practice from a detached place.
Yeah.
And, being in the play of it, I mean, you could spend 10-15 minutes on an app and leave with, a couple of video chats scheduled, a date, who
Yeah.
knows?
It
Uh,
doesn't have to take many back and forths when you lean into the vulnerability and not doing it in a way that if I if I'm if I share this vulnerably, then it'll make him want to respond. That's still with an expectation. There's some
yeah, that's what
trying
the
to
attachment.
navigate and
Yeah.
yeah, so we got to cut that out. And it's not to play a game. Like, you literally are just looking for opportunities to
Yeah.
share honestly something you care about. And that, wow, like if somebody's saying, how is your day? If you're honey, when you finally have the man of your dreams, how is your day? And you go, and you just know you can fall in his arms for a big hug going, it was rough. And you get to let yourself receive that connection of recognition. Then you get to do this here too. Like, you have to like allow yourself that. And so it's being honest about what you want to share about yourself and be honest what you're sharing in that vulnerable place. But that's the superpower. That's where men want to see and say, okay, it's safe for me to be me and share me with you.
Yeah. And that's what opens, just like you shared, but that's what opens up the deep connection that as women we all desire. I hear it from women all the time. How do I get consistent intimacy? And we're not just talking about in the bedroom, right? We're talking about into me, you see. How do I create that? You can easily create it by, just sharing a little bit of your heart. I remember a couple weeks ago I was having a little breakdown. I don't know why, but I do know why, but I'm kind of being sarcastic a little bit. I had a lot of things going on, and there's just this break that happened, and I, went to, went out, took a little walk in the living room, took a walk out of my office into the living room. And I, saw my guy there, and I was just like, man, this is rough. And tears started pouring down my face. And I was like, do you believe in me? And he was like, oh my gosh, of course. And it opened up the door to share what was happening. And, you don't have to get to a breaking point, but when you're in relationship, there's that safe place to be able to share. And it's not just confined there. It's, now we joke around about it all the time. Like, he'll put his arms around my shoulders. He's like, I believe in you. And we kind of laugh about it. But it's being, it's being open to that, rather than, I think a lot of times women were so used to being in masculine mode and fixing, nurturing, even, so oftentimes proving energy. So, but when you can relax into yourself, your feelings, and opening that up, like, that's really where the nectar is.
Yeah.
Connection.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, you have there's a presence that, like, we get to have where we are sharing and imparting ourselves, and we're opening up that. And I got to say, time and time again, I know you have this too when you have your clients working with you, that time and time again, after first chats on apps, or first date, or meet and greet coffee, that the women that we work with, they come back to us, and the feedback is, men say, oh my God, we actually had a conversation. I didn't feel like I was in a job interview.
Yes.
And
all the time. Like, we had so much fun, and like they I always invite them, like, look at the beautiful soul in front of you and get curious from that perspective. And instead of, a lot of times women might try to make a decision, especially if she's dating, dating abundantly, or, in that place of filling up her man funnel, which we might coach you guys to do a little bit. And, especially if she's dating one person that she really likes, she might try to shut it down, shut everybody else down. But when we invite that opening, they get in the habit of just having great connections. And it's so fun. I love hearing about it.
And you get to listen for the things that are in alignment with you, rather than, I know that a lot of the women I work with go through the what's wrong with me, that I do this to me, rather than saying the things that were fabulous, like, wow, this man, he has a vision, not my vision, but oh my gosh, he's clear on it. And he's clear about wanting a partner to share that with. And he has a big heart that wants to share whatever it could be, but it's not your vision. Instead of being, how'd that happen? And all that energy.
Right. Like, being in the gratitude space of the connection.
He's so interesting.
Yeah, rather than needing it to be perfectly aligned. It's okay if it's not. It's like, oh, I learned that his vision is to, move to Ecuador and go, I don't know.
Yeah.
Explore the Peace Corps over there. I don't know. It could be anything, right? Which may not be aligned with where you're at, and that's okay.
And I love that too, because it really allows people and women to see differently. Like, I get to connect. I get to have a connected no.
Yes.
Because so much fear about how to, like, and I work with a lot of women who maybe empathically feel like they don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, so they don't speak their truth, or they hedge, or they freeze, or any number of things happen, versus connecting in the no and saying, wow, I acknowledge this, this, and this, and see these beautiful things. And that's so not my dream. And I'm so excited for you to find that. And I know it's not with me. And that's a way of letting them know you see them,
Yeah.
appreciate
And,
them,
and,
and to
and
say,
also,
right for me. And that's
yeah, it's, I, you know, we definitely work with a similar crowd
yeah,
of women that definitely, you know, they don't want to hurt someone. They, and I think that, you know, that can open up its own, you know, own blocks, because a lot of times women will stop themselves from actually meeting someone because they have fear that it's going to be a no, and they don't want to hurt that person. But realizing that, you know, when you get out of your own way and you can move that aside, realize that he's doing the same thing as you. He's sifting, and he's meeting people for the same reason, and it's a first meeting. It's a meet and greet
yeah,
typically.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's so great because it's just, even if you're on maybe 3 or 4 dates and it becomes clear it's not a right fit, to
It's a
have
no.
that
Yeah.
full conversation. And I know men and women both don't do that well, and that's where the quote ghosting and all these things. But I feel like I've had so many conversations with clients too that tell me the response that they had when a man tried to speak with them, and it wasn't necessarily um, grounded, right? It was an activated, energetic, fear-based response that was really could come, you know, it's a power move with anger to feel powerful, feeling powerless because of something they believe about themselves. That's drawing them to say that, when in fact there could be a wonderful, wonderful, like, way to approach that if we all just, you know, if we started creating better responses that were kind. So thank you for telling me.
Yeah,
You
and just being in that receivership,
know,
and allowing those feelings to move through you, of any disappointment, feeling those feelings, letting them go, and transmuting that. This is so important into, oh, this is evidence that my man is coming. This is evidence that my man is on his way. The universe is getting this one out of the way. And the good news is the universe got this out of my way quickly, and I got to connect with somebody amazing. And maybe you even tried a new restaurant that you've always wanted to. I mean, like, there's always gratitude and a silver lining in connections.
yeah,
I really believe.
I love it. Okay, because I have a question for you about. I've been hearing this has just come up recently, and I think it's a safety thing. And I'm wondering what you think of this too. Like the
Yeah.
idea of the zero date. It's a zero, like they're calling it not the first date. There's some safe. So I don't know where this is coming. There's somebody sharing this on a blog or a Reddit or a Medium article that we're calling this a zero date. It's not really a first date. It's a meet and greet. But it's so interesting that there's a like it counts. That's my opinion.
It counts. A zero
You
date. I don't
can't.
even know what the
That's
hell a zero
safety.
date
That's
means.
like, well, if I don't count it as a date, then I can't be hurt by it. Like, what does that mean? Has anybody else heard that? I'd love to know if people have heard that too out here
Yeah,
watching, because I feel like
curious.
it's up there
Anybody
at the
out there
top.
hear the zero date? No. I
Yeah,
mean,
what that means, or if they thought that, like, where that's come from. Because I'm just intrigued, because when I hear it, I think, wow, you know, you have to take a risk into the unknown to go meet somebody. Now, it doesn't have to mean your life is threatened risk. That's not the risk. It's the emotional risk and us leaning in to be vulnerable. And when we discredit it with not counting it, it's non-existent. That's what zero means.
yes.
Where can that possibly go in trust for yourself, much less with somebody else? So
Yeah,
interesting.
it is interesting. I feel like that doesn't really make sense. I mean, there's so many ways, and I feel like that's just another way for people to try to weed out connections without being really invested in their
Yeah.
own journey. And I also think that, I mean, you can easily do a first meet and greet or phone chat. I mean, they
Yeah.
have on, you know,
All that.
all online apps, they have a video chat option. So you could just do a quick video chat with somebody and connect.
Yes. Connection gets to count no matter how it happens.
Yeah.
You're cheating yourself out of the opportunity to be vulnerable and have the possibility of something blossoming. There's an energy when there's that, like, oh, I'm protecting myself from what that means if this is a real date.
Yeah.
Versus getting
I think
that pattern of what the reason that is landing for people, the zero date, is because something underneath or a belief that's been there for a while, and it's still going to be there whether you believe in zero dates or not, and use that. That's going to keep the protection up in some way to not open up, to not be vulnerable.
Yeah, we call that a love shield, right?
Yeah.
Like it's unpenetrable.
Yes.
Use your words, Cindy.
Good.
Yeah, that shield, and if you're, if you're a woman that's on here that's listening to us, and you're looking to create a connection with someone that is healthy, that desires, a long-term committed relationship, if you have that shield up, they feel right through that, and they don't waste their time with that kind of energy. I mean, they will literally, even if they can't identify exactly what it is, they'll move away from it because they're really looking for that connectable woman that they have a chance at winning with and showing up for.
Good.
So
yeah, absolutely. So incredible. Yeah.
So good. So good. We could talk about this stuff all day.
I know.
I just learned something new. The zero date.
I know people. I bet there's gonna be some folks commenting because I've been hearing it, and like it must be out on a blog or Medium or one of those very popular
sites
meetings going on, and I'm just like, wow. So it's just, yeah. So we got to have that. Like, it'll be fun to see what people say and what their feelings are around that, and hopefully this supports a little to just question, like, get curious, what feels safe about that for you. What feels not safe about calling it a date? Because the reality is that story is the more important thing to focus on than just putting this other label on something for temporary safety when you actually want to feel safe and there's something underneath, right?
Absolutely. Well said. Well said.
So good.
Well, this was fun.
Yes.
So good chatting with you.
Yeah.
Yay. So everybody join us on the Successful Woman's Guide to Love. Link in bio. If you haven't joined yet, there is a lot of golden nuggets of information, free resources, lots of gifts daily. And we're heading into almost the weekend. I can't believe it. And free open replay time. So it'll be fun.
Love it. So good.
Yay. Well, thanks for being here.
Thanks for the invite, Cindy. Wonderful.
Okay. Bye.